back to Hiking in History. This is part 2 of the Welsh Coast walk, so if you've not seen part 1, go check out part 1, because this is a series where I'm walking the whole of the North Welsh Coast from Chester to all the way to Bangor. So this is part 2. We are in Flint, as you can see, because ta-da, there is beautiful Flint Castle. Weather is slightly better. it's cloudy. I keep getting a little bit of sun here and there, but it's still showering here and there, but better than yesterday, because all of yesterday, if you watch part 1, is just rain. Just with this fisherwoman here, don't mind her, she's been catching a lot of fish. But yes, here we are in Flint. So part 2 today, we're going to be going from Flint all the way to Talaka, passing all manner of things, and the first thing on our list is Flint Castle. So we are going to go inside Flint Castle as well, because it is free to go in, I believe. You can literally just walk around, it's just ruins. Really impressive, you know, how much of it is left. But this is the first of the Welsh castles built by Edward I. This is back in 1277, when he invaded Wales. He built like a ring of castles, like incredibly impressive castles, and they're all kind of along North Wales. I think there's a couple that are inland a bit as well, but there's quite a few of them, and this was the first one that he built back in 1277. And he, along with that, he laid out the new town as well, because the castle was kind of here first, and then there was a town, the town of Flint over there, which was made to support the castle, provide, you know, commercial centre. The medieval town was built on a regular grid pattern, which was modelled on the Bastide towns of France. So there were 6 parallel streets running northeast to southwest and 1 cross route. So even today, if you go like where all the important sort of buildings are, like the town hall and the church and whatnot, they're all kind of in a line, they're all just sort of in a straight line. So it's built on this kind of old medieval structure, this ground, an old medieval plan. And all this information, by the way, I am using this as my Bible, the official sort of guide to the Welsh Coast. And yeah, that's how I'm discovering it. So everything that we're going to be talking about is probably going to be from this book. So just on cue, it has started raining again. Got this giant rain cloud that's basically heading right for me. So perhaps the next hour is going to be a bit of a wet one again. Unfortunately, I've got my coat back on. The only positive I can take from this is that my backpack is a lot lighter without the coat in, so that's nice. But yes, today I think weather-wise should be better, but I think we've just got maybe a shower or two now in the morning, and hopefully when we sort of get off properly it should clear up. But it's just started spitting, and I think it's going to get a bit worse. But we're going to head into Flint Castle and have a little look. It does say in the guide as well that high tide here can actually reach the castle. So once the tide comes in, sometimes it can even, you know, reach the border of the castle. Here we go, here's the rain. Yeah, don't know if you can see if it comes up on the camera or not, but it's absolutely pissing it down, and I am soaked already. So going to be sheltering here in Flint Castle until this passes, because there's no way I'm walking in this. We are still sheltering from the rain. It's kind of easing now, but it still just keeps coming back in little waves, like. So we're going to do some Flint Castle history from here. We've got a good nice view of it anyway from here anyway. So yeah, so it's actually Edward I chose this castle, the location of the castle, carefully. Obviously it's just above these marshlands, so all these marshlands here, just above them on like a rocky sort of outcrop, so it's not going to be sinking. And obviously it's at the Dee estuary, so you can just about make out over there, the other side of the Dee. So easily accessible both land and sea. Chester, the city of Chester, is just 10 miles to the east down there, which was obviously back then as well. There was a, you know, very important medieval port. in the northwest of England, vital supply base for Edward I's invasion into Wales. So it wasn't that far from Chester here, and you know, they could be supplied very easily from Chester to Flint here, and he's got basically a foothold into Wales, hasn't he, at that point. And even across this water, across the Wirral, there's plenty of supplies, raw material, food, all the fishing that was here. But yeah, everything else was very easily supplied, so this was a good spot. I think the rain is just about stopping now. Got a little bit break in the sun. Got the castle completely to myself at the moment, just because I guess it is raining. Wonderful walls on these. So you've got these towers in the classic sort of like, you know, square sort of pattern. But they're all different sizes, so it's like this one is huge. I think that one's got a separate name onto it, but that one is like way bigger than the others. The others are sort of similar sizes, but that one is massive. Still got like little pieces here, foundations maybe, of where buildings were inside the castle, different like rooms and whatnot. Magnificent views across the Dee estuary here. You'd, again, if you saw any invaders coming down here, you'd easily be able to spot them from these towers. Very impressive. So in charge of the work of the building this was a guy called Richard L'Engineer. Again, I'm going to guess it's Norman and French. I'll write it up, but he's an engineer that is called engineer, essentially, so maybe that's literally his name, engineer. He was like the leading military engineer at the time, ancestor of the Duke of Westminster, and thousands of drafted labourers from all over England. I guess a lot of them sort of like criminals or just, you know, poor people, vagabonds, you know, peasants, were drafted here, thousands of them, to work on this and to build it. The first task was to dig the defensive moats, which they are down that way. I'll show you. So you can see here where the moats once were. This whole thing was not as big. As you can see, it sounded dips just behind where the little bridge comes up. So there were all their moats that were dug at the time. In 1277 you had like 2,000 dikers at work just doing that. Pretty incredible. Including many from the Fens and some from Holland. I don't know where the Fens is. Where's the Fens? I'll Google that and type it up. There's a well here as well. That's really cool that they've still got that. I wonder how far down that goes. Ooh, quite far. Actually, you can just see the water on it. That's very cool that that's still survived. But building of this castle took 9 years, so it was, you know, a huge undertaking. Almost a decade that they were building this for. Shows the strength of Edward I's army as well. You can see more of the moat there, just there as it comes up, I think down here. Yeah, it shows the strength of his invasion, I guess, because 9 years to be pitched here building a castle. You know, he knew he wasn't going to get repelled, I guess. You know, he was certainly strong enough not to, by the Welsh or anyone else, that he could afford to build wait 9 years to build this castle. Now, he was building other castles at the same time, but this one was the first one. 9 years at a cost of £6,000, over £6,000, which in today's terms would be about 4.5 million. So a hefty investment of Edward I. This is very cool. So just at one of the towers, it is locked unfortunately, but they must open it on certain days or something and have tours, because as you can see, there's a spiral staircase that goes up to the top and goes down, and yeah, that's very cool. And I think that, yeah, that one's the same, like that's locked. I think they all might be locked, but it looks like on certain days you must have some kind of events or tours where you perhaps pay to come and do everything properly, but you can just visit this site for free and just walk in, which is very nice. I always like it when castles do that. I think I'm probably very lucky because it's been raining, so no one's here, no annoying chavs, very good at the moment. They do have quite a drop, some of these towers. It's very cool how intact they all are. I do have a visitor now. Look at this one you can actually go in. Very cool. Huge places really, especially when you think they would have had multiple floors on them. And now the sun is out, the weather here now in Wales is just kind of insane. Within like the half an hour we've had cloudy, moody, extremely rainy. I heard some thunder and now it's this. That's Britain for you. Get 4 seasons in an hour. This is very cool though. So this huge tower which I sort of mentioned, which looks like it's, I mean it is separated now. Whether it was back in the day I don't know. Possibly, I guess. I don't know if this wall, maybe this was connected or not. But it might have been separate, this bigger tower, possibly. But it says here, this information board, it looks huge. This one, obviously, this would have been very grand, I imagine, probably where the most important people stayed. But here, in Flint Castle, it says, in 1399, one of Edward I's great-great-grandsons gave the English crown away to another. So King Richard II gave the crown to Henry Bolingbroke, who became, I have heard of him before, Richard IV, I think. Yes. Oh no, Richard IV, Henry IV, sorry. He became Henry IV. So Richard was going really unpopular, and that made Henry's bid for the throne too powerful to resist, and Richard was forced to abdicate, and he gave away the crown in this castle to Henry. How cool is that? I did not know that. That is very cool. Probably right in there. Anyway, that is going to be it from Flint Castle, because I need to actually start the walk. I've not even started yet. I've got about 13-14 miles ahead of me to get to Talaka, so we're going to start now and head off. We've spent quite a bit of time here because of the rain, but absolutely beautiful, wonderful place, free to enter, which is insane really compared to some castles which I've paid to go into, like Beeston Castle, which is a nice castle. It's got a good view, but you have to pay like 10 quid to go there, and it's just like ridiculous because there is less than this, much less than this. But yes, completely free. Definitely recommend coming. I would definitely plan to come back and do a proper video as well someday on it. But yes, let's get started on the walk. You can see here the remains of the moat here, like this wall and all this. So this is what was built actually quite far away from the castle really. So this was a mighty fortification. No wonder it took so many people to build. Look at this for a wonderful path right by the Dee. And as a background, the castle right behind me, so that is beautiful. I just read something on one of the plaques about how it was, how it ended up the way it is. So during the English Civil War in the 1600s, once the new parliamentary system was enacted, once it was all over, it was voted that Flint Castle would be pulled down, would be destroyed, so no one else could use it again, and that's how it's ended up as a ruin as it is now. Which I've heard a lot actually. I've not like read in detail about the English Civil War and stuff, but you do seem to see a lot of castles when you visit them. It was always the Civil War that ends them. So I feel like that was probably one of the biggest significant, one of the most significant things about the ending of the Civil War is it seems that so many castles that used to be such strongholds were decimated and, not in use anymore. But look at this, beautiful. Got a soldier here as well. It's getting warm now because the sun's just come out, so I think I'll just take the bloody coat off. This is the current little walk through little woodland area, and keep getting little glimpses to the right. Might be able to see now of just beautiful River Dee, the whole estuary, I can't say that word, estuary. Yeah, all just out there, just on the right. Absolutely beautiful. I've just come out of the woods here, and this little inlet, as you can see here, is Flint Dock. Now, you wouldn't believe it, there's an old little boat there that's just been left, which is very cute. But you wouldn't believe it, but in the early 19th century, this now peaceful little place was a busy dock exporting lead, coal, chemicals, and importing timber, slates, other products. And in 1 year, over 300 ships, including 6 from America, docked at this port. So docked just here. Over 300 in 1 year. So this place used to be an actual busy port, which is crazy to think now. In 1840 it was recorded that there were 20 boats waiting to be offloaded at Flint Dock at any one time. So 20 boats probably just waiting out here, waiting to be queued in and offloaded. Isn't that crazy? This is what's good. I'm enjoying this guide, because you things that you would just usually walk past, you know, it gives you just little bits of info on that make the history of the place, I don't know, it makes the place just come alive a bit more, doesn't it? So here it is, Flint Dock. Beautiful. Okay, so as you can see, I've just heard a massive clash of thunder, and I've got this cloud, I believe, heading towards me. It's already starting to spit a little bit, so it's probably going to be another torrential downpour in about 5-10 minutes. So I'm going to maybe just stay under in these woods for a bit. Very irritating. I just want to keep going, and the weather is just like changing literally every like half an hour. Mad. Maybe raining, but that is still a beautiful sight. A little old boat just left there. A reminder of what used to be happening earlier. But absolutely beautiful. Oh, it's doom clouds that way, but that's already past us. It's just lingering on here and there. Like every 2 minutes it'll stop and then get a bit heavier and then stop again. Again, just 2 minutes later, it's now gone sunny. Oh, look at this. I've just come across the edge of the point, and look at that. Stunning. This is where we're going to be heading down, all the way down. In the very, very far distance, there's a big wind farm I can see. There's all wind farms out there. I thought this is looking glorious now. So much like bird wildlife here. If you're a bird watcher, it's absolutely fantastic. I don't know the names of any of them, but I've been watching some, poking the little beaks in the mud. There's all different types of things for them eating there. I don't know what you call them, really kind of sluggy type things in the water. They're all feeding here, so if you're a keen bird watcher, it's fantastic. And yeah, I suppose now that even though all the industry's gone, all there's more modern industry, a bit more green, isn't it, I guess, than it used to be, that a lot of the wildlife has returned to these places. You can see the path that just runs along here, but you can just come through and go right to the edge of the little cliff. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm sweating now because the bloody sun's come out, so I'm going to have to take my coat off. My bag is going to get a lot heavier all of a sudden. But look at this. This is what we're talking about. So now we are, look at this, for a path right against this, the seawall. So the seawall is here. This was built in the 1800s, it says, so that the railway could be built, but just around there, just further inland. So I'm guessing before this, the high tide would actually come further inland, but they built this so the railway could go across. But what a beautiful path, right along the seawall. Gorgeous. Back again with the rain, started spitting. I am going to be costume changing so often in these videos, well, this one especially. Very windy at the moment. Yeah, every half an hour, 20 minutes, the weather completely changes, but very beautiful. There are a couple of islands over there, teeny little islands. I can't remember the name of them, something beginning with H. You might not even be able to see them now, but I do want to visit them one day. We've got another little estuary here that runs into the River Dee, and this place is called Station Gutter. Again, even a teeny little one like this, it says up to, at its peak, up to 30 ships a day sailed in and out of this little dock, carrying coal, lead, copper, and as well passengers from Liverpool used to come here and disembark. I think, I don't know how you pronounce that, at Bagelt? Probably wrong. Bagels here, and then they were met by horse-drawn carts that would take them further inland up to Holywell and, you know, down to Flint and places. But like Victorian sightseers and tourists would come on here from Liverpool on boats as well. Incredible. And obviously now there's nothing left here, but I love all these teeny little docking areas that were once used. Very cool, very cool. I'm not even sure which way I'm heading now. I think it's just over the bridge and down this way. And we are now heading into Basingwerk. I think that's how you pronounce it. And we're going to be heading up onto that hill where there is a cool beacon. I think I can just about make it out, but we will get footage when we're closer. Lovely little bit of clear weather there. You can just see maybe in the distance that huge bridge and all them industrial like chimneys there. That's where we've come from, and way further down in Chester. Just at the top here on this, there's a old stone circle. Well, I actually don't think it's very old. I think it's been put here. Well, I'd almost guarantee it doesn't look like a actual original stone circle. And also this whole area is basically just like colliery waste. There's a big colliery here, and this big bank, this big hill, was all just the waste. So like this, we have them in Stoke, they're called slag heaps, where all like the pottery waste is in big hills, and now they've just, you know, overgrown and turned into like wildlife sanctuaries and stuff like that. So that's really cool. It's a very nice little area, good little spot to have a 5-minute rest. Can't beat it. Got a wonderful view of the river here. You can see where I don't know if this is like where it's silting and stuff like that, or it's just the tide we're at low tide at the moment, but there's all like little sandy bits all in the middle, and you might be able to just see them two islands just over there. Another great little information board about all the schooners and stuff that used to be going down here, and all the birds and everything it's naming. But also very cool, these seals, grey seals, they're on those islands. So it's Hilbury, I think, I don't know how you pronounce it, Hilbury Island, which is just that one there. And it boasts the largest grey seal colony in the United Kingdom, but even possibly the world. So there must be tons of like grey seals on there, which is so cool to think. Isn't it? One day I would definitely go and check that out, because I think you can go over on boat trips and stuff. Yeah, there's even these as well, harbour porpoise, and they even go up the estuary as far as Connors Quay, which we went past in day one. So part one, we went past there. It's way up there, so you can even see these things. It's incredible. And just behind, extremely windy, but we got this dragon beacon, and there's a bunch of these all over the coast apparently. Well, how cool is that? How awesome would that be to see? They must light it, put wood and everything in there and light it up for a certain occasion, bonfire night probably or something. But it would be so good to be up here at sunset or at night and have that lit. Just the atmosphere would be so cool. Absolutely wonderful. You can actually, yeah, you can see the tide going out further here because more and more sand's being revealed. What we're standing on now is the remains of the Basingwerk colliery, which is one of the largest collieries along the Dee estuary. And the shafts were started in 1871, and at its peak production in 1908 it employed 641 men. So, you know, these communities here, basically everyone was employed there. But it's actually closed a long time ago as well. It was not a recent one that closed. Closed in 1933, hit badly by strikes and the Depression, it says here. So there were even, you know, a lot of people in the UK are of my generation, or, you know, newer generations, feel that, you know, you seem to think that most of the mines and stuff were all closed in kind of the 1980s, late 70s, 80s, 90s, under the Thatcher government and all that. But there were even problems before then, way before then, so in the 1930s as well, the Depression and things, you know, it's still, some of these collieries didn't even survive until that long. But yeah, that's what we're standing on now, all the waste. It's been transformed over the decades into this very nice wildlife sanctuary with this fantastic dragon sculpture on top. Come round to the other side from the colliery waste dump, and look what we have found. A little detour, but an actual fishing spot. So this is an actual working inlet docking area that is still used today for all these little fishing boats. It's known as the Holly. I think something to do with this water comes from like Holywell, and it serves the shrine that's up there. But yeah, known as the Holly, this. And look at all this, there's quite a lot of boats. It's quite way more than I thought. So the little guide suggested do this as a little detour, and I'm very glad I did, because it is very cool to see all these actual ships, well, boats. Look at these ones, they're quite, you know, big ones as well, and then we've got these little smaller ones. But yeah, these go out and actually catch fish and all the rest seasonally and stuff like that. But I think it said from July to December they go, and it's more with fish, and then in the winter I think it's like prawns and shrimp and stuff like that. But tons of boats, some of them obviously I think derelict now. This big one, don't know about that one. That looks like it could still maybe float, I'm not sure. But yeah, some of these absolutely. Look at this bad boy. How much action they've seen. Like a little boat graveyard up here as well. But that's wonderful to see some proper fishing that's still going on up on this little inlet. Yeah, they're all moored here. Lots of them are just these small ones, but I imagine they throw nets over, and yeah, some of it still survives. And obviously you got to remember, back in the day there would have been tons of these, and all them other inlets that we've seen would have looked like this, but with kind of sailboats obviously rather than motors. But it was a super busy place. Heading a bit more inland now, and this old building here, my guide tells me, this old decrepit falling down ruin of a building now, was the colliery engine house. So all the engines for the colliery were stored in there, and that is still there with a bunch of scrapped cars by it. But that is also nice. It looks like there's another placard sign coming up. They're everywhere on this walk. Really good ones, like just the nice amount of information. You haven't got to read forever, but they're nicely spaced out. There's plenty of them. Yeah, so far, I mean, despite all the weather challenges, this walk has been delightful. This is a very nice monument, I like, in memory of the colliers who descended into darkness never to see the light of day again. But for a modern monument, I actually really like that. Usually I think they look a bit naff, but I think that's been nicely designed. Some nice pictures here as well of the Basingwerk colliery back in the day. You can see, look at this, the Basingwerk Rescue Brigade. So I guess they were kind of like, either they were like lifeguard type or rescuing people that got stuck in the actual mines. That's one of the ships that would have, one of the boats that would have come in and taken the stuff away, and then gathering coal here. Great pictures. But that's all that remains, that's left of it, the engine house. Looks like you could possibly go in it, really. Like, it just looks abandoned and probably quite easy to access. I've still got a hell of a long way to go though, and I'm still doing a lot of detours and whatnot, so I don't think I'll do that. Maybe one day I'll come back and do it, but we'll see. You can see the boats there in the distance at the Holly, and this is where it comes out, this big thing, which is, I believe, called the Millward Tunnel. Not sure how you pronounce it, Millward Tunnel. A 10-mile long drainage tunnel built in stages between 1897 and 1957. Hell of a long time then to build. And that was to drain the Halkin lead mines, enable deeper mining and all the rest. But that is cool, isn't it? That's insane to think that that tunnel goes on for 10 miles and was built at the end of the 1800s all the way. It took over like 50 years to do. Mad. Crazy how much stuff there is around, just that, you know, you wouldn't really know about unless you get one of these guides and stuff. So I really do recommend following these guides. Some of them are really good. Right underneath a big wind turbine. Don't think I've ever been that close to one before. Just on this path now near to Greenfield Dock, which is the next spot. You can get a good view of those little islands where the seals are there. You might be able to just pick them up. There's some more boats as well moored off here. Just arrived in Greenfield Dock. As you can see, another that is still active. There are boats and stuff here. Don't know what that is pumping out smoke there. Could be the railway, don't know if there's a steam train going. Get a good view here of Greenfield Docks. This one, it says on the board as well that it's mainly for cockling this. So it's harvesting cockles. Which are them teeny tiny little shells that are like just buried underneath the sand. And a lot of that is obviously still done here, which is very nice to see. Right, I think I'm going on another little detour actually this way and then heading back on the coast path. So let's get going. Look at that for a viaduct type thing. So we are heading on a little detour, I think up here, to go see like an old ruined abbey, which I think should be up here. There's a little path sign on here. So yeah, hopefully we can find this old ruined abbey that is just off the coastal path, which is very old. I think it was built in the 1200s, so let's go try see that. I've just found the abbey ruins just down here, but there are signs everywhere for these places. Interesting little buildings. This beautiful house, Basingwerk House, built in 1925. It's a wedding present to Hugh Rutt, who was an assistant manager at a paper mill. A wedding present. Jesus Christ, look at him. Look at absolute player in his snazzy car. So, I mean, it's just a cafe now, but lots of cool history here. You can't see the abbey at the moment, but we'll get good shots of it. That there is the first school in Holywell. Well, it was. It's not anymore, but it was like 1877. There's some pictures there. There's stuff everywhere around here. Really cool. And here it is. Look at this. Vast ruins. It's a bloody massive place, this abbey. Yeah. Holy crap. There's an illustration on the board back there, like of how they think, it looked, and it was a bloody massive place. And also on that board, something very cool and interesting, I thought. I think this bit was like the garden here. This was like an open section, open to the elements. But like all these would have been corridors and God knows, massive complex. But interesting thing that it said on one of the boards up there was that it's likely that Henry V stayed here after the Battle of Agincourt, and he returned home to England. He apparently went to the shrine in Holywell. I forget what it's called, St Winifred's, something like that. I think it's St Winifred's shrine in Holywell. He went there to like pay thanks for his victory at Agincourt, and they seem to think, according to that board, that it is likely that he would have stayed here whilst he was on this visit, which is incredible. Some very nice like detail still left on here, which is mad with these, you know. Still make out quite a lot. This would have been a grand place that the monks here have built. So in my guide, so this is I didn't even say the name, this is Basingwerk Abbey, founded in the 12th century, so 1100s. That's also insane. Wow, look at how much there is here. It was a very wealthy abbey, as you can probably tell just by the amount of stuff here. They owned lots of land and over 2,000 sheep, these monks did, and they started the market that was in Holywell, the first market in Holywell, so that was in 1292, selling their own produce that they made here, well, from the flocks of sheep, and they probably made other things here of monks brewing beer and honey and all sorts then. And they also collected taxes from the merchants, their merchants and farmers who came to sell. The abbey thrived for centuries but was closed following Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries, and that was in 1536. So this place thrived for hundreds of years, would have been a huge place, very busy. And then bloody King Henry VIII, because he wanted to get his end away, obviously the dissolution of the monasteries and that separation was an absolutely incredibly huge deal, a massive moment in English history, British history, and yeah, places like this were no more after that. Yeah, the grounds here were absolutely enormous. I love that little connection to Henry V. With the idea that he stayed here, because Henry V is one of my favourite kings. He is one of the few that I know a decent amount about, an okay amount about. I have read a book on him, so any connection to Henry V I'm all about. That's very cool. But we should probably head back to the coastal path. Nice little detour though, that. It only literally takes like 15 minutes to walk up here, so if you've got time, come check out, what was it, Basingwerk Abbey? One of them two. This is something maybe one day, and you always find more paths when you're on them. I don't know if you can see there, the North Wales Pilgrim's Way, 135-mile route, so even longer than the one I'm doing now, but goes from, I think it starts here, Basingwerk Abbey, and goes all across to different like little churches and mines, all sorts. One day maybe. Rightio, I am back on the actual coastal path now, against another big seawall, and it looks like huge, you know, sort of sandbank, I don't know what you want to call it, just over there, because I believe we're on low tide at the moment. Now, I'm certainly no expert on tides, but I've had a Google, because the guide says about you know, make sure for this next bit of the walk that you're on low tide. If you're on high tide, you don't want that because it's dangerous, of course. So we might be walking across all this, I'm not sure, but from my understanding we are at low tide now, or like low tide finishes or reaches its peak in like an hour, and then high tide is at like 10 PM tonight, so we've got another hour before tide even begins to come back in, so we should be fine, I believe, if I am correct. If not, you know, the Coast Guard are going to come and get me on because I'll be drowning, but that shouldn't happen from my understanding. Very moody, and we are heading to this big ship you can see in the distance, absolutely huge. It's just moored and abandoned, I believe, there, so it seems. That's where we're heading for. Here's the ship. So it's a huge thing, especially when you're here. It looks so much bigger in person than on the camera. But this is the Duke of Lancaster ship. It's a former passenger ferry, so tourists and everything, I guess, used to be on there. I don't know how long it's been here, but I think it's been a while, because it's also was known locally as the fun ship. So my guide says, because there used to be discos on it. So I think even when it was maybe moored here and wasn't really in active service anymore, that it was still used for something, and people used to go there for discos, possibly. I think that's what it means from the guide anyway. But now it is just there, just rotting away, and just for graffiti artists, I guess, to, you know, work on. What a view that is, what a scene. Just incredible, absolutely huge ship that's now just rotting away. It looks like something from a post-apocalyptic film, doesn't it? Like, just left here like that. Wow. There must be like security or something on it, surely, because that would be like an incredible place for like urban explorers to, you know, all them YouTube channels like Abandoned and all that, to be like exploring that. That'd be incredible. Doesn't look like there's a lot though, but surely there must be some kind of security for it. So we're still walking along, and this ahead, there's quite a big port here, well, bigger than the others that we've seen. I'm pretty sure this is Moston, which very clearly looks like it is still an active port. There's some factories there and everything, so yeah, don't think we'll get to see it any more than from here, but I think we're going to be heading past it. Yeah, so this is the port of Moston, big factories here, so still in a lot of active service, a lot of activity still happening here. And there's some woods up there, and I think that's where we're heading, because the official coastal route path, I think soon after here, just goes along the main road for quite a long time, and it's the guide says like it's really boring. It's the official route, but it's really boring. So there's an unofficial part that the guide recommends where you skip that and go up through those woods, and then come back down into one of the towns, and it's apparently much better. It takes a little bit longer, but I think we're going to do that, because I don't really just want to walk across a boring road for ages. So I believe that is where we're heading. So we are now off the path, off the coastal path, and going on the alternative route, which has guided me to just before this, the Letty Hotel, which is closed, as you can see. There is a path just up here. So here we go. We're going off path. We're going off the official route, but it feels weird now, like not looking for the same symbols, the shell with the dragon tail. Instead, we're going past the creepy Letty Hotel and up here. Oh, it's quite gloomy in here, but after a steep climb, it is a nice little pathway. Look at all this. Then just going along the main road for God knows how long, for a long time, and nothing interesting. So if you do have time, it probably is better, this one. It is a bit of a steep climb though, up to the top of here. I didn't record any of that, but we are on the alternative path at the moment. So again, I don't think it's anything crazy interesting or like super historic or anything, but it's just a walk through a pleasant wood rather than walking along a main busy road. So it's nice that the guide points that out for you. Out of the woods now, and look at this cool thing. Look at this for a tunnel. Just a building on top. Apparently my guide says that it has something to do, it's associated with the Moston estate, which there's some place names around here called Moston. So whether that's still a estate that's still going, possibly. But that is cool. I've never seen anything like that before in England. Or, well, in the UK, rather than just England. So, still heading through a bunch of fields and stuff now. God, this is a bit overgrown. But this is where I'm heading to. God knows how to say it. Ffynnongroyw. Ffynnongroyw. I'm going to say Ffynnongroyw. Bloody hell, this is overgrown. But That is it's fairly close to Talaka, which is the end stop for day 2. Bloody hell, this is overgrown. However, my accommodation where I am staying today is in that town, that Ffynnongroyw, whatever. So the original plan was to, obviously, after this, drop off my bag and stuff, and then walk the rest to Talaka. Jesus Christ, this is so overgrown. Walk the rest to Talaka, and then, you know, finish up the filming, and then just walk back to the town where I'm staying, because it's not that far away. I mean, it's not nothing. Oh my god, so overgrown. What the hell? Why am I on this path? Jesus. God knows. Sorry about this footage. I'm gonna get nettled up the backside. Okie doke. Right, I need to stop and explain. Right. So, that was the original plan. However, it is getting late now. It is getting on. I could technically do it, but I will probably be walking back in the dark, which I really don't want to do. And I'm tired. And I'm going to have to walk to Talaka anyway tomorrow, just to get to the start of the 3rd day. So I'm probably going to just head to the accommodation, the Ffynnongroyw place, and end the video there, and then part 3 you'll get to see Talaka and do Talaka to Abergele, I believe. So that is the plan. We got rain again, and there's this big horse cross-country like obstacle course track thing that I'm sort of following. Coat's back on, hood's up, but we shouldn't be too far now, really, getting from going down into the town. Personally, this alternative route, probably not worth it. It's hard. I'd say it's hard to recommend. I know the main official route is literally just across the main road, so that'll be boring anyway, but it is direct. You're going to get to where you're going faster. This alternative route, like, it's okay. You know, the wooded little area, like, it's nice, but it's very short, and I don't think it's really worth it's a pretty steep uphill. It's a lot of work for what you get. The coolest thing by far was that that weird house by the Moston estate that cars go under. Like, that was really cool. I really enjoyed seeing that. It's almost worth it for that. I mean, I'm glad I saw it, so I'm glad I've been this way, but other than that, you're not really doing anything but walking across fields. Sure, that's more pleasant than a road. Again, with these, you know, this is quite nice, horse track, and especially if it's like a sunny day, then yeah, but it's a lot of work for nothing crazy interesting. So if you're tired and you just want to get it, you know, I'd probably recommend just going the direct route. I've found something else that is slowly redeeming this path again. I'm back into a wood now. And look at this like proper abandoned haunted house type movie shit. This is really cool. God, I wonder who owned this and how old this is. Like, I don't know, like 1800s maybe. I suppose it could be earlier, but it doesn't look it. It looks sort of 1800s, 1900s. Wow, and the woods have just reclaimed it. This is proper kind of spooky horror movie stuff, isn't it? It's like a movie set. Blair Witch type stuff. Very cool. Ooh, I like this. Wow. Wow, look at all that. The chimney and everything still. That's really awesome. Wind's picking up. But yes, okay, so this path is kind of redeeming itself a little bit here and there. But I would still say, if you are tired or if you've not got a lot of time, it's probably best to avoid it. There's not loads on it. I can see what the guide's trying to do, recommending it, but also it's actually kind of much harder to follow than the official path, even using the guide, because clearly not many people follow this path and come on this alternative route. It's quite overgrown and it is quite difficult. I've almost got lost like at certain times. It's taken me a long time to actually get through the path because I've gone the wrong way a couple of times. Things are very easy to miss. Things that the guide says are signposted aren't signposted, so you do have to do a bit of detective work to kind of figure your way out around this path. There's a little stream here, but yes, so that's another reason why it's would I recommend it? Probably not. If you did it as a separate walk, then absolutely, you know, this is a nice little walk. Definitely, because you get to see the cool building there, and that spooky old ruin is very cool. But as part of the Welsh Coastal Walk, I don't think it really fits. It's a too long of a alternative route. It takes too long and too much effort for little reward. Finally made it out of those woods. That once again was not guided that well in the book. Yeah, so I would definitely say it's not worth doing. It's taken a hell of a long time to get through all this, but I should be very close to that town now where I'm staying. Okie dokie, so I'm literally just heading into the little village now, so I'm going to end the video here. I did not make it to Talaka. Talaka was the end of day 2, but it seems that I'm heading there tomorrow anyway. I've got to get there because I would have had to get to Talaka and then come back to here, because this is where my accommodation is. So instead, because I'm knackered now, I'm just going to end the video here, and we'll do day 3 will be from this place to Abergally. But yes, that was day 2 of Flint to Talaka. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe as usual, and come back to see part 3 very soon. Yeah, see you in the next one. Bye.